Welcome back to the Samantha Show. My name is Samantha. You can call me Sam, just don't call me Sammy. I'm here today with Mrs. Heather Allen, introducing
Hi.
her as the photographer, flower gal, multi-passionate, which we're going to break down here today. But before we get into our conversation, because I can't wait to talk to you about this, Heather, kicking off this podcast with my segment, 3 things you need to know. Can you share? Let's start with number 1. What's one thing that the people need to know?
Okay. When I was thinking about this, I was like, okay, Heather, you can't just talk about flowers. So
I wondered if it'd be about flowers.
Yeah, let's just turn this into a gardening podcast. No, I wanted to first say that if you do anything in marketing at all, like create flyers or you just want to be like, I need to make a cleaning schedule, but I want it to be really pretty. And you have not heard of the word Canva, like pause the podcast, get online, check out Canva. It'll make everything beautiful and easy. They have a free version. I use the pro version. It just gives you some like extra like graphics and things like that. But truly game changer if you do anything in marketing or you just want and need things to be pretty. I've been on it 3 times today.
I totally agree with that. And that's why when I launched my podcast, the graphic was so good that people thought the podcast would be that good. And then
and here we are.
I totally look, the Canva, I totally agree with that. I think it's an incredible program.
People need to know. Okay. Yeah. The second thing I wanted to say, and I'm going to go gardening on you, is that if you've like wanted to start a garden, but you're like, plants are really expensive or it takes like a ton of time and I can't be out there watering all the time. Just go online, find a zinnia or a cosmos seed. It's not too late. They are not finicky. They are beautiful. They come in so many different colors and they will grow. Throw them in the ground, they'll grow.
Okay. I need to know this because like I want to be a flower person, but I'm not a flower person.
You'll look like one, right? They're annuals, but you only have to buy seeds. You get like, for like $5, you can get 50 seeds or 100, and they come in such beautiful colors.
Do you like throw them or do you have to like plant, like dig one little hole and put a seed in it?
So you can like, it depends on how you want them, but like if you wanted them, like say in front of your house, you can literally like dig a trench almost like you would like, does that make sense?
Yep.
I'm doing it with my hands, but they can't listen, right? Or they can't see. So like you can like dig like a straight line even, and then drop one every 6 to 9 inches.
Love that. Okay. That's great. It was a Cosmo. That was easy to remember. What was the other one?
A zinnia.
Zinnia.
Everybody's favorite first cut flowers, I think.
Love it.
And then that leads to like my third is that the show Growing Floret, their 2nd season just came out. And if you haven't seen it, I watched it on Max. It's now Max down on HBO. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's something we need to know because I didn't know that.
Anyway, if you haven't seen it, it's really great. And even if you don't, like, if you're not like super passionate about flowers, it's still so inspiring. Erin, her name is Erin, the owner of Floret. She's just like, the 2nd season is kind of about legacy and what you're going to leave behind. And she talks about like, she is so well known in this flower community, probably like the most, I would say. And she talks about her failures, like completely just like bombing something. And like, she was like, she talks about how like, what if I wasn't bold enough to even try, like those kind of things. And so you get like, obviously it's a beautiful show in general. It's just about flowers, but even if you're not into flowers, you'll walk away inspired, I think.
What's the name of it again?
Growing Floret. So her company name is Floret.
I think that's great. And what a great segue into our conversation. Like you have to be bold enough to try, right? Try a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And then just sample
everything. Well, Heather, I brought you on here today because, it's like a couple of weeks ago, somebody sent me this little reel on Instagram about this. It was like this woman, she was like hopping around in a room. She's like, I'm a multi-passionate writer. I want to do all the things and I want to do them the best. And I want to be the best at all the things. I'm going to try this and that. And it said something about being multi-passionate. And someone was like, oh, it's you. And I was like, that word I feel like it's the first time I have felt seen. And I was like, oh my God, that is me. Like, I thought I was just like a creative person, and I think I am. And we'll talk about that. But I really connected with that word. So then I started to think about who I could bring on to talk about this with me. Yeah. And you came to mind.
That's right. When I first heard the word was from you, you sent it to me. You said, have you heard of this? And do you think this is you? And I was like, let me Google it real quick. And something that really stuck out to me, it repeats itself as you kind of go through like the searches. It said like, they keep thinking about what they want to be when they grow up. You know, I'm 31 and I do still, I think about it all the time, what I'm going to be when I grow up.
I say it all the time too. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do that when I grow up, where I'm still figuring out what I want to be when I grow up. Speaking of what we want to be, I know we connected yesterday and we were talking about some of the things we have been. Do you mind sharing in 100 words or less all the things that you have been, or some of your, jobs and endeavors and interests that you've pursued?
I graduated college in 2015. So whatever, 8 years ago. And since then I've had 15 jobs. In those jobs, there've been mainly like 3 actual careers as well. But I started right out of college. I became a CPA. So I took the CPA, passed it, and then I did taxes. So if you don't know, that means certified public accountant. So I did that. And then I did that for like 2 years. And I'll say like, even in college, like no one, with your first episode, you're like, no one's shocked that I'm doing this. Right. And I don't think anybody who knew me in college is like, oh, she's done like 100 things. Yeah, no one's shocked by that. I knew I wasn't going to be a CPA forever. I just didn't know what I was going to do. And I was pretty committed at that point, right? I was getting a master's degree. So like pretty committed. So I knew I was going to do it for a bit. That lasted a couple of years. And then from there, I just did a bunch of accounting jobs. And then I went into fitness. And then from fitness,
what was it?
Yeah, it was Honey Active. Yeah, I did
Honey Active. That's right.
Yes, that's right. I did some like personal training. And I also, I did Cycle Bar, and I did Orange Theory, and I did a few other things in fitness just to like feel it all out to see what I wanted to do. And then I ended up getting a camera, or I was told I shouldn't bring my son or let someone into our home during COVID. He was born during COVID. And so I just was like, well, whatever, I'll just buy my own camera and I'll just take 1,000 photos of him, since I can't have a newborn photographer come in. And from there, I did photography, and now I do flowers as well. I grow my own flowers and sell them. But I've talked about flowers for years. Like, this is just like happening now, mad somehow. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes sense right now to be doing. But I've also, like, in between there was like a wedding planner. And
that's right.
I know. And I also do social media. And
that's right.
I worked at Lululemon, and I sold clothes once.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we were kind of joking yesterday. I bet some of our multi-passion projects have kind of overlapped. And we obviously Cycle Bar has.
Yeah.
But you also was on the route for accounting, right?
I was on the route for accounting. Yeah. Accounting, and then, Cycle Bar, obviously. It's funny that you said that you've always thought about flowers. And because getting into this podcast, like my undergraduate degree was mass communication with a specialization track in broadcasting. Like, I've always thought it would be interesting. Right. And I think that, like, even looking at this multi-passionate, like, it's, even though maybe some of it is like, seems random to the outside person, like, I can't speak for you, but I feel like the things that I have pursued and done have always been of some level of interest to me. You know what I mean?
Right. Definitely. I do think if we aren't like super connected and talking often, it might seem random that all of a sudden you see flowers all over my photography Instagram. Right. Yeah. But like most people who know me know that it's not something I've kept to myself, or, you know what I mean? Like it is been in the, it's not like so multi-passion, I think maybe comes off as like flaky, or it can.
Right. We had talked about that, the inability to like commit to something, which we both got very like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I don't think personally for me, it's been like flakiness. It's just been like this like swarm of all my ideas and things I like coming together and happening eventually. So I can see how it can be read as that. And maybe that's a con to some people, like coming off as flaky, but like, girl, we've talked, like, I am committed. If you
so committed.
So committed. If you see me in my garden, I was in my garden 10 minutes ago before we did this. You know what I mean? As soon as we're done, I'll go back out, and I'm in my farmer's gear, and I'm wearing a farmer's hat, and I have a farmer's tan.
That's right.
And I don't care, you know?
I think there's a lot of truth to that. And, you know, I think sometimes people shoot a DM or drop a comment and they don't always realize like the impact. But I remember when I said I wanted to do the podcast, that someone was kind of like, dude, something else? Like, do you have ADHD? And not that there's anything wrong with that at all, but the way it was delivered felt a little insulting. And I think that, you know, whether there's some spectrum of that or whatever, but to my point, the concentration, like the commitment, as we were sharing, is almost to like an obsessive level of like, no, I'm doing this and I'm going to do it 120% probably by the end of today. Now.
Exactly. Like, I totally agree. When I decide, it's almost like it's in my brain. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then like, when I'm like, oh, I am going to do that thing.
Yes.
I am on it. I am committed. It is funny that like when I started like Googling multi-passion, one of the things that came up was like, you're not multi-passionate. You just can't commit. And I was like, honey, no.
That's not it at all. That's not it at all. I've been trying to like Google and look into it too, that can we be successful as multi-passionate people? Because theoretically, or in let's say the olden days, traditional ways, you build a career over staying in the same field for 30 plus years. And if you're constantly jumping, how do you really become successful at anything?
Right. I do. So something I do think about often is I can only be really good at two things at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can be really dedicated to my flowers and be a good photographer at the same time. But if I all of a sudden throw something else in there, it's just not going to work. And so for me, what I think I do is I just look for signals in my life of things that show me that I am doing too much. So like if I can't keep up with, or I should say like if cleaning my house consistently stresses me out, that means I really don't have time, right? Like it doesn't take me that long to clean my house. And so if it's stressing me out and it's always on my mind, and not just cleaning my house, you know what I'm saying? Like does cooking dinner, thinking of every night what I'm going to eat stress me out, then I'm probably doing too much if I can't just do these like basic things, or like even editing, like, do I have too many backed up galleries? And so I try to look for stuff like that. And when we connected yesterday too, I was kind of talking about like, I'm feeling a little bit of that right now. Like I'm feeling a little bit of like, I am doing a little bit too much. And when I was even thinking about the success question, I was like, I actually like thought of a question to ask you, because it seems like cycle bar is your prime passion, right? It's what gets you up and what moves you and what goes and, you know, all that stuff. And I was thinking like, do you think that multi-passionate people are on the hunt for like the one, in terms of, you know, like that we want to commit fully, you know, we do want to be the best. And like, is there a one for all of us? Or like,
is there a one for all? You know, that's a really good question. And I was thinking about that too, because I clearly feel like I'm a multi-passionate, but I very clearly have cycle bar and I have no intention of leaving right now. Like I want to see how high I can climb and do that. But then too, it's like, if this podcast blew up, I'm not anticipating that, but if it did, does that change things for me? I think it would depend. Or, you know, I'm getting into pageantry this year. If that opened a door that I just didn't even realize was out there, I think for me, and you can, you know, speak to this as well. It's like, one thing that's been very drawing to me with doing different things is like, I want to have a good time. I want to be happy. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And so if I don't feel that in something that is taking up my time and energy, I'm making a change, because I believe that you can make money and be successful and learn doing things you love. And if you don't love it, change it.
Right. Yeah. So I think too, to that success point is about like, what do you think is successful? There's, so much out there that, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a job, I think it really used to be that way. I think things are probably our generation. And yeah, I do think things are changing. And I do think like the entrepreneurship spirit, even like our generation, but like the one below, what, like, I feel like they're doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think like that idea of success will change, and obviously is very personal as well.
I think that that's a really good point, is that success is not defined by one specific thing, or everybody's going to have their own definition of success. So if success for me is happiness, making money to take care of myself, my family, and I'm enjoying life, boom, we're successful. Like we're already there. But if success is like a certain amount of income, or, whatever that is, or an amount of degrees, then to somebody else, it may not be successful. So I think that that's a really good point, is that, with some of the things are like, how do you become successful as a multi-passionate? It's like, well, first define success and then go from there. So I know we were going to talk a little bit about potential pros and cons. And we've kind of discussed, I think, some of this.
Yeah.
But looking at pros and cons potentially of being a multi-passionate. What do you think of pro?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think the pros are probably the easiest, right? Maybe I'm just a little biased, but
I can make a list of the pros too. I am enjoying life.
Right. You get to do what you want, right? Like, I mean, in terms of like, if something interests you, you follow that interest. If you're having fun, you also get to allow yourself some freedom to explore, right? Always self-discovering and things like that. I do think that that's like such a big pro, and finding community. Like if you're super into podcasting, all of a sudden you're going to find some other people who like podcasting.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to find in the community. Also, just like a little side note on that, I do think people, like, if a barrier for entry for you for following your passion is you're afraid of like competition and stuff. I just kind of want to say, like, from my perspective, everyone has been so, in everything I've done, like I've done whatever, so many random things. It's so everyone wants everybody to win. I don't know.
I would agree. I think that most people this day and age just want to see others win as well, and support them in that. Yeah. And in different fields.
Yeah. So I think a real pro that is like feeling supported and an ease of access to information. Like obviously the internet exists, like this past weekend, I did my first farmer's market, and I heard the woman coming up to my booth say to the woman next to her, they clearly know each other. And she said, "Oh, I'm a flower farmer." And I was a little bit like, oh, like she's going to say my peonies don't look beautiful or whatever. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's me. And she was like, "Hey, do you know there's this great place in Oklahoma that sells these peony bare roots that you can get, and they're way cheaper there." You know what I mean?
Love that.
Yeah, it is. So, the community aspect, I think, is really wonderful.
I felt that for sure in the pageant industry, like getting into pageants. I haven't like connected with a lot of podcasters yet, but for sure getting into the pageantry, like people are so ready to support and encourage. And so I think that that's a really great point. Like you get to just really connect with other people in different ways and feel that support.
What do you think are the biggest cons?
You had kind of said it. It's like, I got all these ideas. I ain't got enough time.
Yeah.
I want to do these things. I wanted, and already even with like the podcast, like finding the time to edit and like set up the schedule and promote on Instagram. And
when I have an idea, I will get on Canva and I will make myself a schedule of what hours and what thing I am like, you know what I mean? Like organized and on it and stuff, but it still does seem like at times, not enough time in the day.
Yeah. To your point of like being committed, like when I do embark on something new, I do want to do it really well.
Right.
Like I want to win my pageant. I want to do this podcast well. When I started that spray tanning business, like I wanted that spray tanning business to do really well. And it did. And it had a lot of potential, but that was something where, because Cycle Bar was picking up again, I realized that I could not make it as great as it could have been. And so that's when I was like, it's no longer worth my time or energy. And I think I actually had fun building and creating the brand almost more than anything else. And I was like, maybe I just need to be like a brand person, like, brand marketing I just like to create. But
Do you have a hard time, you think, letting go? Like, was that like a big decision for you to like cut it?
it's funny. Closing out and not doing any more tans was not hard for me. But deleting the website and the Instagram page, again, the branding, the name that I had built around that, even for just a couple years, getting rid of the business license and letting go of all that. I was like, here we go, delete. But I knew it was done. I knew I wasn't, I didn't, the interest, like I wasn't going to do it anymore. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to spray people 5 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's almost to me the same way I feel like about starting a project. Like it's like in my mind, like, oh, I might stop doing this thing. I might stop. And then one day I wake up and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to stop doing that thing. And then that's it.
Yeah. I mean, once I was done, it was done. It was hard for me to like hit cancel, but then once it was done, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to worry about that project anymore, and it was time to focus on something else for sure.
I think too, maybe a con for people who are multi-passionate is kind of always having a feel of failure. Like, oh, Sam's starting this thing again.
Yep.
It doesn't work out and she ends it. What does that say?
Yeah.
Right. I think in my mind, it's always like, what does that say about me? Am I immature for not being able to stick to something? Am I whatever? And so I think I used to think about that a lot more than now I don't think about it as much because it's less of a failure and just more like, oh, that's done.
Yeah. I like that mindset. And I think that's good. And I think you're right that it has like changed with time because that is absolutely, I think I even put it on like my posts about the podcast, like might do 1 episode, might do 2, might do it for a month. I think even with the podcast, I was starting to realize I'm just going to do some things and that I want to do. And there'll be a start and a finish to them. And that's okay. And I actually think I was listening to a podcast that was like, you can start something and then change your mind and do something different. I was like, oh shit, I can? Like, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I heard multi-passionate. I was like, you mean there's like a genre for me? Like
I have friends out there. Oh my God.
Or more that this is like normal. And that's like, I really have found a lot of comfort in coming across that term. I feel like so defined, almost like you got the diagnosis. You've been waiting. Like, you're like, at least I know why I am. I don't know. But I definitely think at least coming around to this term now, man, I just feel better about it. And I feel like the mindset, I think in age and like realizing that I like to do multiple things is like, it's okay. Like when this is done, it'll be done and that's fine. Yeah. And I'm excited to see what I do next.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I wish I would have maybe heard that when I maybe not left accounting, but maybe when I left fitness. I wish I would have just heard. Okay.
It's totally okay. It's totally okay. Change your mind, do something new. And don't you feel like now I'm going to say like the great things about being a multi-passionate. Don't you feel like you know a lot about a lot of things?
Oh yeah. I do feel like I know a lot about a lot of things. But I don't know that I feel like I'm an expert.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But I do like when we were talking about the one, I do think if I know the thing I know the most about is flowers. And so, and it's the thing I want to learn about the most about. And so I'm like, almost in my mind, like, is this what I'm going to do forever? And like, I also want to preface that, like, in case any of my clients are listening, I am not done with photography. This is not an
Thank God, because I'm one of your clients and I'm going to need you to keep taking photos for my next podcast promo.
Right. Like I know that will always be in circulation as well. It just depends on like how, in what world am I going to always do like family photos at a certain, the same thing every year. I don't know, but I do know, I almost feel like I'm finding, it's like almost like this realm of beauty that I feel like not beauty, like I have no interest in like makeup or anything, but like realm of beauty of like seeing beauty. Yeah. Is maybe it's forming its own little, I'm forming.
It's interesting that you say that because I have been thinking about my bigger interest to create. I enjoy social media and creating and curating posts. I enjoy creating the playlists that we do for Cycle Bar. I enjoyed creating and coming up with this idea for the podcast. Like, and I was like, maybe I'm just like a creator, like from a bigger picture, like if we like take bigger passions and it's like, if yours is like this view of beauty in the world and how you see it through flowers, through photography. And I like really love this idea of like creating like content for people, right? Whether it's like a class for Cycle Bar, or it's a podcast, or it's social media interaction. There's more of a realm of interest. And then we have all our little things.
Right.
Interesting. Well, thank you for discussing this. I know this was a little more of like a discussion, less of an interview, but we still learn stuff about you. I just always love chatting with you. I just always feel like I've had a good connection with you. And I feel like you get me. I don't know if I get you too.
I was actually thinking today about how I was like, well, we're going to talk about Cycle Bar, obviously, because that's where we met. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, it's like, you've been swarming my world.
We've been swarming in all of our jobs for us and the other multi-passionates in date. And I'm sure we can make a list of them that we've all crossed paths with. So I don't know if you listened to my other podcast, but I like to give anybody who's on the show an opportunity, words of wisdom, words of advice, favorite quote, like anything to leave the listeners with that may inspire them, motivate them, encourage them. You kind of mentioned it earlier, but something earlier.
So I did. I was trying to think, like, as I was thinking about this podcast coming up, what would I want me when I was a CPA to know? Because it was very stressful to think, like, you know, I was young and I knew I didn't want to do the thing I was doing, but what was I going to do? And like, I felt like I had to pick the thing. And so like, what would I tell me at 23? And so I just kind of came up with like a longer list than I planned, but it's 6 items.
Let's go for it. I'm here for it.
One is the first step is the hardest. The first time I planted a seed, the first time I decided to plant a seed, the first time I bought a light because I didn't know what light to buy, the first time I picked the type of compost, the first flower market, right? Like, I don't mean just like deciding. I mean, like every step, the first client that I photographed, which was you. I know. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
I know.
It's so great. So good. I still use those photos.
Oh, great. So yeah, I just want, like, remember that, like, the second time is going to be easier. I promise. The second thing I would want me to remember is that failure does not reflect your character. It doesn't make you good or bad. It's not immoral. I also would want me to know if you need to make money from your passion. Let's also take a second to reflect that the things that we are talking about, we are very privileged to be able to do, right? Like, we are privileged to be able to have extra time, to have your base income, to have things like that, to like try other things. So if making money is something that you have to do, there are more ways than you think to do it.
Love that. Yeah.
Business to business, business to customers. You can go to markets. You can like have someone else sell it. You can have an Etsy. You can have this. There's just so many ways. I would also say, like, one of the other things I wrote down, number 4, was it doesn't have to be a huge deal either, right? Like, you can start, if you love making clay pots, just make clay pots on Saturdays, right? Like, it doesn't have to be like, I'm going to quit my job.
Right.
And I'm going to sell 1,000 clay pots this month, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. You can make
I think that's good. I think that's important.
The 5th thing I was thinking is that some parts of your passion will not be fun, and that's okay. Like,
that's always hard for me to accept, but it's okay.
It is me too.
I'm like, I didn't think about the 4 hours of editing.
Yeah, it's going to be, you know, it's okay to not like that part. It doesn't mean you don't like podcasting, right?
Right. Exactly.
It means that part isn't very fun. And if you get successful enough, you can have someone else do that.
You can pay somebody to do it. I saw that on Google the other day. I was like, we're not there yet, but.
And the last thing I would tell someone is that being multi-passionate and going for those things means that you are bold and you are brave and you are willing to take a chance.
That's my fave. I think more people should be bold and brave and just go for it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you don't want to, you don't have to either.
You know, and then if you start and you want to quit, like whatever.
Quit this one, okay?
It's fine. It's fine.
If you think we're nuts, fine.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I wouldn't have wanted to have this conversation with anybody else. So I really appreciate you coming on and chatting, and have fun with your flowers. Let's do some photos thing soon.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And to everybody listen, go find your passion, do all the things, be bold, be brave, and have a great day because you deserve it.